Folks, who are you actually negotiating with? I'll get into that and then the latest home prices and insights for the Peel and Durham region for week ending April 30th, 2025. Not long ago, we put an offer on a property. Our offer was $1.3 million. The home was listed at $1.5 million. Now, we came up with, on behalf of the buyers, the $1.3 million because we're looking at recent sales, we're looking at the market in that neighborhood, and 1.3, we weren't trying to lowball. It seemed like a fair price for that home. But our offer was rejected, and in conversation back and forth and explaining to my clients, the buyer, the offer was rejected. Like they didn't even give us a counter offer. My clients, the buyers, were talking, how do these sellers, why do they think their home is worth 1.5 and so forth? And that's really the discussion that I want to bring up today. In speaking with that agent, I can tell that number, 1.5, was not the seller's number. That's not what the sellers decided this is what their home is worth. This is what the agent decided that this home should sell for, and the sellers went along with it. Sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes it's the seller saying, yes, this is the number that makes sense, and the agent maybe is on the same page or not, but that's what it gets listed at. And then when you put an offer and it's around there, you could put a deal together. But sometimes it's not the seller you're actually negotiating with. It's the agent who committed to a number. Now, why would an agent commit to a number? Hey, maybe they're not comfortable or experienced enough in pricing a home properly. Maybe they picked the high number to get the listing. Any number of reasons. But the fact is that in many situations out there, a lot of these properties that are sitting out there, it's the realtor that committed to a number, told the seller, this is what your home should sell for. The seller sometimes is surprised, oh, we can get that much? And they'll say, great, you're hired. And now you come in as we did, where the home is listed at 1.5. We come in at 1.3. Can you imagine the dynamics now that has to happen for our offer to be accepted? This agent who committed and told the seller that 1.5 is the number now has to somehow convince the seller you should take 1.3. Can you imagine how that agent is going to look? Their ego, their like just the whole process, it's probably not going to happen. There's going to be a lot of time that needs to pass, that this property needs to sit on the market before somebody figures out that, hey, they got to come down in price. This is why I ask, and this is why I bring it up. Who are you actually negotiating with? Is it the seller? Is it the agent? And if you're trying to buy a property, you need to know who you're negotiating with, because that will change your strategy as to how you get the number that you as a buyer need to get. If you feel this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. If you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. And if you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video, in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, or you can go directly to tsre.ca. That'll take you to my calendar. Pick a date and time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Now, let's get into the numbers. Here we go, folks. We're going to be focused on detached properties for Peel and Durham region. Specifically, we're going to talk about data for Mississauga, Brampton, and for Durham, it'll be Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby as my Durham sample. Here's a summary of average sold prices. Brampton and Durham, pretty similar when it comes to average sold price. Mississauga is much, much higher when it comes to average sold price of detached properties. We're going to start off with Mississauga for week ending April 30th. 42 detached properties were sold. 7 were sold at $2 million or more. I'm stressing the 7 because that's a pretty busy week. There's been only one other week this year where we hit 7, but usually 3 or 4 or 2 are selling at $2 million or more in one specific week. But this week it was 7, 42 were sold. Overall, I would say sales have shown that they're trending upwards. Average sold price, because of the 7 sold at $2 million or more, average sold price shot way up to $1,523,000. 1,523 is 5% higher than where the average sold price was a year ago. But the prior weeks, average sold price was 16% lower, 16% lower, 12% lower, 10% lower. But this week, it's the other way, 5% higher. Compared to last year, the median price is 5% higher as well. Median price is $1,430,000. Overall, when we look at the dotted line, which is the 4-week moving average, kind of shows that average price and median price have been trending downwards. But this week, with the increase in average and median prices, we may see that change over the next couple of weeks. But overall, prices prior to this week were trending downwards. 42 were sold, 19% sold at list price or more. 146 were listed. Think about that. I'm going to go back. 42 sold, 146 were listed for sale in this 1 week, but available for sale. So we take the prior weeks and whatever has not sold remains on the market for sale. There's 781 detached properties in Mississauga available for sale. And months of inventory climbed up a bit over the previous week. We're now at 4.3 months of inventory, pretty much a balanced market. That's Mississauga. Here's Brampton. 47 detached properties were sold. No properties sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price down from the previous week. It's at $1,090,000. But I would say overall, since the beginning of March, I would say average prices in Brampton for detached properties have been trending downwards. Compared to last year, $1,090,000 is 7% lower in average sold price. The median price of $1,053,000 is 9% lower. The dotted line, the 4-week moving average, shows that average price and median price have been trending down. 47 were sold, 28% sold at list price or more. 196 detached properties were listed for sale in Brampton. Active listings is climbing. It's now at 1,115 available detached properties for sale. I'm going to go back because I think that's worth repeating. 47 sold, but there's 1,115 to choose from. So there's not many selling on a weekly basis. Again, I'm just focused on detached properties. Months of inventory sitting at 5.5 months of inventory. Here's Durham. And I'm using Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby as my Durham sample. Only detached properties for week ending April 30th. 53 detached properties were sold. No properties sold at $2 million or more. And I would say average sold price, it's not average sold price, sorry, sales up until the beginning of April, sales were trending up. Right now, over the last few weeks, they're kind of flat. although we got this 1 week here where only 29 were sold, but that was Easter weekend, and on long weekends, we often see a drop in sales. So, but other than that, you get rid of the 1 weekend, sales are kind of flat in the 50s. 53 were sold for this week. Average sold price is $1,055,000, way down from the previous week. Compared to last year, $1,055,000 is 10% lower than where the average price was a year ago. The median price of $1 million is 12% lower. The dotted line, the 4-week moving average, shows average price and median price trending down. Not aggressively, but trending down. 53 were sold, 36% sold at list price or more. 157 were listed. I'd circled that because that's the most listings we had in a single week this year so far for detached properties in Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby. So 57 were listed. Active listings is climbing. We're now at 597 available detached properties for sale. Months of inventory, 2.6 for Durham. Here's a quick summary of months of inventory. You are going to experience, if you're out there shopping or selling, you're going to experience a buyer's market. You're going to experience a balanced market. You could be competing, or you could be looking to buy a property that's been sitting on the market for a long, long time. So balanced market or buyer's market. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day. Go Leafs go.